A new law is keeping people from releasing personal information of others with malicious intent. Doing so could now result in prison time. News 4's Will Polston spoke with a district attorney to better understand the law.
Though it can be easy to find some personal information online, it's illegal for someone to release that information with bad intentions. That's called doxing. And if the information gets in the wrong person's hands, it can be very dangerous. District Attorney Russ Goodman spoke on an example from 2022.
You had somebody, an individual that showed up at Justice Kavanaugh's house saying he was going to assassinate a Supreme Court justice based on the information he had given. So it is a very dangerous thing.
Doxing doesn't always have to be done by one person. District Attorney Goodman says swatting can be considered a form of doxing as well. This is where someone reports a crime so dangerous it results in SWAT teams responding.
The SWAT team shows up not knowing anything other than what they've been told, and somebody can get killed.
Recently, Houston County Sheriff Donald Valenza spoke with News 4 regarding a rise in swatting throughout the county. He mentioned how calls waste resources and echoed the dangers of reacting to them.
What's happened in the last couple of days falls under terroristic threats.
DA Goodman stressed the need for a law like this in Alabama. He says with how passionate people get in today's environment, something needed to be put in place to protect people and their families.
It is very charged politically and on both sides. And so, the last thing that anybody needs is somebody showing up, at their private residence with a beef.
In Dothan, I'm Will Polston, your hometown news leader.
The first doxing offense is considered a misdemeanor, but any following charges are Class C felonies.